Hello everybody, this is Tuomas Airaksinen. I am the lead developer of Anbible, and here I am again going through the financial report of quarter 1 of 2026. So let's get started. So first of all, I have a company. It is called Tuomas Airaksinen Software Oy. I have also a trading name Sykero Software, and that is kind of how it is possible to sponsor Anbible development. So the idea is that you are kind of sponsoring by purchasing hours from this company, and I will be working for the amount you sponsor. So let's go through this report. I'm mainly reading it for you. It is the same text will be found online in anbible.org in a blog post that I'm going to release soon. So, quarter overview. The defining theme of quarter 1 of 2026 was developing AI features for Anbible, bringing LLM capabilities directly into the app for users. I outlined the vision and roadmap in a blog post in early January, and I am pleased to report that the entire feature set is now essentially implemented as planned. What remains is testing, bug fixing, and prompt refinement, with the goal of shipping the AI features to production during quarter 2. The AI integration, including multi-provider LLM agent system with Bible-aware tools, an AI document system, a prompt editor, and deep integration points throughout the app, is arguably the most ambitious feature addition to Anbible in the past couple of years, and I'm genuinely thrilled with how all the pieces have come together. This work came at a cost. The AI project consumed 75.72 hours this quarter, 101.69 hours total since quarter 2 2025, and since there is no dedicated feature sponsorship for it, all of that was drawn from the generic development pool. As a result, the generic pool accumulated 42.23 hours of free unsponsored work over the quarter, meaning roughly 43 hours equals about 2,800 euros of the AI work was effectively self-sponsored. The detailed sponsorship data below tells the full story, but in short, community sponsorship doesn't come close to covering this implementation in full. That said, I consider this as a worthwhile investment. The feature is genuinely exciting, and I believe it will be a valuable addition for users. Business restructuring and rate adjustment. At the start of the year, I gained a significant new sponsor whose recurring monthly commitment provides a more stable funding base for ongoing development. This prompted a restructuring from a sole proprietorship to a limited liability company, meaning Tuomas Airaksinen Software Oy, with trading name Sykero Software, which is considerably more tax efficient, since as a side business alongside near full-time employment, meaning 4 times per week that I'm working for my employer, the sole proprietorship income was taxed at a high marginal rate, whereas a limited company benefits from corporate tax and preferential dividends taxation. At the same time, I made the first ever hourly rate adjustment, raising both rates by 5 euros per hour, meaning generic increased from 60 to 65 euros per hour and specific feature development work from 70 to 75 euros per hour. And this increase was based on Finnish Consumer Price Index. Going forward, I intend to make similar index-based adjustments each January, but this was the first increase since the project started, so the step was larger than future adjustments will be. Additionally, the new company's Wise Business account now enables recurring sponsorship to pay direct bank transfers in euros, USD, or GBP, and possibly other currencies as well. Note that bank transfer sponsorship require a separate invoice and agreement, so the webshop remains the recommended option for smaller or one-time contributions. Quarterly planning and reporting. The new sponsor requires quarterly roadmap planning and progress reporting, which is tracked as A/B planning in the time data, about 7 hours this quarter, this kind of planning. I carry out this work within sponsored hours because the sponsor is paying for it and requiring it, and I also publish these planning reports as articles on the Unbible blog. Sponsored feature work. In addition to the AI work, I worked on 3 sponsored feature commissions during quarter 1. The first was a collection of smaller improvements, 8 hours sponsored, from which about 5 hours was worked, which was completed, and its remaining 3.1 hours transferred to the tracker commission below. The second was a maintenance work pool, 7.5 hours sponsored, and that pool was kind of overworked, 14.15 hours worked. This is essentially generic development, but the sponsor specifically wanted to earmark their contribution for the non-AI work, such as bug fixes and general maintenance. So I was kind of making this pool for that purpose, that I can kind of show that I have been working that amount of sponsorship through this specific feature pool. The shortfall was covered by a transfer from generic pool. The third contribution was a comprehensive reading and memorization progress tracking system with an automatic reading detection, progress statistics, calendar heat maps, and reading cycle support. The work is nearly complete. Still 19 hours remaining in the budget, which will be used for final bug fixes and polish, and very likely there will be remaining hours that will be allocated as directed by the sponsor. Support issues and pull requests. One area that suffered this quarter was the user support and issue triage. After January, support work dropped to just about 2 hours for the entire quarter, and I have not been reading through the open issues except those related to the AI project and the sponsored tracker feature. This is something that I need to address going forward. On the pull request side, we have been seeing increase in community contributed pull requests, likely driven by the growing use of AI coding assistants. I have not had time to properly review most of them. A refined contribution policy is under development to ensure that high quality contributions make into the code base efficiently while avoiding spending disproportionate review time on lower quality AI generated submissions. So kind of AI is changing in good and bad. It is really positive to see increase of contributions, but also it requires more work as they need to be reviewed and quality need to be maintained. Report format changes. Starting this quarter, the sponsorship flow tables have switched back to an hour-based format. The motivation is clarity, orders purchase hours, tracked work consumes hours, and transfers between pools are straightforward hour-to-hour operations with conversion rate when rates differ. The previous euro-based format made pool transfers and carryovers harder to follow. A free work column has been added. Actually, it is not added, it was earlier also, but it is added back. Clearly to show unsponsored hours. When a pool's ad balance goes negative, deficit is absorbed as a free work and the carryover reset to zero instead of propagating a negative balance to the next month. The old sponsored percentage column has been removed and interpool transfers are now shown in a dedicated transfers table. The hours comparison chart now also includes free work bar alongside the existing total hours worked and sponsored hours bars, making the unsponsored portion visible at a glance. But note that this is not visible for the previous periods. It is only starting this first quarter of 2026. Sponsorship flow. Okay, this is the generic part, although it has been changed to some extent. I'm not reading all of this, but I will be going through these tables so that we will be able to follow mostly what is happening. So, first feature is a collection of small features. Sponsor was sponsoring total 8 hours for this, and as you see from the table, I have been using 4.12 hours here, 5 point something hours, but remaining is 3.10 hours. And this feature was sponsored by the same sponsor as this memorization, reading and memorization tracking. So I moved the remaining hours to that pool after this work was finished. So this was finished much earlier than kind of smaller amount of work than I was estimated. But this is how I work. If a sponsor has specific desires that I will be kind of he wants me to work on specific feature, I will be kind of, if something is over sponsored, then it is possible to transfer the remaining hours to another project or to generic fund. But in this particular case, it was kind of the will of the sponsor that I'm working on specific features that he is kind of giving to me. Then this feature, this maintenance work, is a special one. There was one sponsor that wanted me to work on something else than AI work. There are some people that are a little bit hesitating with this AI based feature. I believe that many of them will change their minds as they see how I have been implementing it. Of course, AI can be misused and so on, but like I believe that I have made my best effort to make it useful, more than kind of useful for many people. So anyway, I made a pool for this specific purpose, so that I can kind of show that this amount of hours has been used for something else. So he wanted to sponsor this maintenance work instead of AI or generic. So in January I was working 6.5 hours, and 1 hour was going to carry it over to February. And in February I was working this 1 hour plus some other hours. I mean, total I was working 7.65 hours, but I'm kind of using my time tracker tool all the time when I'm working, but I'm not following the hours so accurately. I mean, I'm not reading the reports all the time, so kind of it was overused. So the remaining 6.65 hours was taken from generic pool, which is kind of natural thing for maintenance work anyway. Then the third feature, reading and memorization tracking, it was started in March. It was a sponsorship of 30 new sponsorship was 37.5 hours, but there was also carryover from kind of transfer, 3.1 hour transfer from this other feature. So that is kind of available. Total amount is 14.6 hours. And I have been using 21.5 hours from it, a little bit more than half of it, remaining 19.07 hours. So this feature also is kind of ready, but there are some bugs perhaps, and testing needed. Still, I am planning to release this also in Q2. So then the generic development. As you see, the sponsored amount is kind of almost 20 hours per month, which is a significant increase, and this is mainly because of this sponsor that I've been telling already, that has been committing every month. He is sponsoring certain amount. So sponsored amount have been increasing. What can we see from here otherwise is that this AI work was using this generic development, of course, but as you see from February and March, there is significant amount of free work. This is just the flow that I was mentioning earlier, that kind of I have been just overworking on this AI feature because it has been exciting me so much. But it is my self-sponsored hours then. Anyway, then there is a new table, transfers, which is kind of giving the list of transfers from which feature to another feature. There is kind of from these small features remaining to reading tracker, this 3.1 hour, and then from generic to this maintenance work pool, the 6.65 hours. And then let's see about the time tracking summary. This time I have been having 102 hours of feature development. These are the tracking IDs for feature development. Then I have been having generic work for 37.67 hours. And notice that I have been marking this I have been marking this AB AI project also as feature work even though it has been funded from generic pool. So this is kind of categorization by what is the content of the work, not by the sponsorship categories. Yeah, and then by task, we see again the numbers. AI feature is of course the biggest consumer here. We see also that the tracker feature has been taking 21 hours. Yeah, that is the second biggest one single use of the hours. Then the charge, as I told, there is a new feature here. The yellow or orange bar is telling the self-sponsored or kind of free work hours, and then you see the red one is the total worked hours, and the green one is the sponsorship hours or sponsored hours. So if we are looking at this, of course the green bars have been increasing significantly. It is very, very positive news. But as the green bars have been increasing, or of course I must say that this AI project was motivating me by itself, but I must say that when I see that there are people behind this project, it is increasing my motivation also. I am kind of more excited to work on this project. So I believe there are two main factors that are reason for my big amount of hours in this quarter. Significant difference to the whole last year, I would say. Then the time distribution by category, and then the time distribution by task. You can look at those more carefully if you like. This is kind of showing the proportion of this AI project this quarter. So the summary, in total 139.82 hours of development work were done in this quarter, of which roughly 97 hours were covered by sponsorship and 43 hours, meaning 31%, were unsponsored work, primarily due to the AI feature effort. Revenue was for this quarter was 7,600, about a significant increase from quarter 4 that was 1,300, about, largely thanks to the new recurring sponsor and the feature commissions. While the funding situation has improved significantly compared to late 2025, sponsorship still falls short of the target, which is and has been since the beginning of the sponsorship was enabled, roughly 1 working day per week, which means around 90 hours per quarter. Reaching that level consistently would allow me to commit to a predictable development pace with confidence. This quarter's high free work percentage was largely driven by the AI feature, which put me in a particular creative flow that was hard to step away from, but that level of unsponsored contributions is not sustainable in the long run. Looking ahead to the quarter 2, the priorities are shipping of the AI feature to production, releasing an MVP of the iOS version, finishing the reading tracker, catching up on the user support and issue triage, and establishing a clearer contribution policy for community pull requests. I intend to publish a separate roadmap blog post soon that will cover the forward-looking plans in more detail. Closing words. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to every Antbible sponsor for making it possible to maintain, support, and continually develop this app. This quarter in particular, the gap between sponsored and actual work was significant, but the enthusiasm from sponsors, both new and returning, gives me confidence that the project is heading in a good direction. Above all, I am deeply grateful to God for how things have developed. My personal motivation for the project has grown enormously. Knowing how many people are working alongside me in this work makes all the difference. It is a privilege to work on a software that helps people engage with Scripture, and I look forward to shipping the AI features and returning to a more balanced workload in quarter 2. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your sponsorship. And yeah, as I promised, I will be making another blog post and maybe some video also. I'm not sure about the video, maybe not video, but about my roadmap planning soon. So thank you, and see you in the next video.